Hello, hello, wonderful, wonderful internet world. You know what? I don't think I could say the internet world is wonderful. It's full of sludge and garbage and pornography, isn't it?
I mean, there's some good people on the internet.
Well, yeah, John and Hank Green, but I mean,
Debatable.
I know,
Even that's debatable.
I know. Anyway, welcome back to yet another sports podcast. I am Matt, and I am Sans Ponce again today, because pants are a crutch.
I'm wearing pants because I'm doing my laundry.
I am wearing boxer briefs.
Questionable decision.
Why? They're comfortable.
Still questionable decisions to just be walking around like that without any fucking sweatpants on, for God's sakes. Of course, for me, it's winter in Minnesota where it's really fucking cold.
Well, not only that, you live with you live with mom and dad and our sister. I live with my wife. That's it.
I would still walk around in sweatpants because I did it when I was living with my girlfriend back in the day. So
I'm just used to. It's funny. I'm gonna say this on camera, on microphone. I'm used to walking around naked.
Nope, that's just weird to me.
I sit around naked all day, and now my wife has gotten so used to me being naked that she just looks at me and she's like, whatever.
It's weird. I don't get it. You're weird.
We've determined that.
I'm just, all you're doing is add fuel to my fire, man. You're weird.
I am. I have never denied being weird, okay?
Well, I never said you were. I'm just saying that every time I know something more, I'm just saying that you're more weird than you were previously in my mind.
You know what? At least I don't eat blueberry waffles with Miracle Whip.
No one said I did that. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
All right.
Fucking weirdo. God.
Well,
at least don't air your dirty laundry. Fuck.
All right.
God.
We do have some things to talk about. Apparently, Ja Morant has come back to the NBA.
Okay.
And I haven't heard anything about him, so yay.
Couldn't care less.
Draymond Green is still suspended.
Shocker.
Apparently, because after he choked Rudy Gobert, he punched a dude in the next game.
Yeah, he's an interesting character.
You know what? I've always said that too. Interesting doesn't begin to describe him as a character.
No, it really doesn't.
And Aaron Rodgers just can't seem to stay out of the spotlight.
I mean, that's Aaron Rodgers, though.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily his fault most of the time, to be fair. Most of the time, he just shows up on Pat McAfee's show, and sometimes things just get out of hand.
like, it wasn't my idea to be activated.
To be fair, it probably wasn't.
Probably not, but, man, look, the more people say it, the more I see it. I think he's an attention whore.
Honestly, I think more often than not, he's considered a high-caliber player where journalists are trying to find every little thing to talk about him. Because I don't think it's necessarily him. I think quite often, especially the last year I've noticed it, he's been out of the spotlight. He's tried to kind of stay out of the spotlight outside of showing up at Pat McAfee show once in a while. And yet you still see articles written about him all the time because he's fucking famous. I think it's just getting clicks. I think most of the time people are just trying to find anything out of context to get clicks. And that's what it is.
I mean, he does...
I've seen so many things about it. Now, sometimes he does put his own foot in his mouth.
He's done that a lot.
But most of the time, from what I've seen, at least this last year anyways, it's definitely been more about trying to get the sensationalism clicks.
I mean, I kind of get that, but also the entire, I think what makes me kind of question even that a little bit is the whole, all right, so I blew out my Achilles, I'm going to have this experimental surgery, and then there's the whole, oh, I could come back this season. And
He
he
could.
played that. He continued to play that for the entire season.
Yeah,
And I
because he
think
could.
I think everybody knew that he never would.
No, I think in fact there was a real chance he could have came back. There was holy discussions that were definitely brought up that if they were still in the playoff race at this point, he would have tried to come back and play. I think
I
there was
think
a
that
real
probably would
chance.
have been a mistake, but I
Probably, but at the same time, I think the intention was definitely if we're still in it at that point, and I can put enough weight on it and throw the ball enough, then yes, I'll come back. And I think that was a real thing
maybe
until they got completely eliminated, and then it was well now there's no reason to come back.
which doesn't make sense why they activated him in the first place.
It was they announced that the main reason for it was because if he wants to do full practices, he has to be activated to be
Ah,
able to do full practices.
so it'll allow him to do a full practice with the team.
Exactly. He
Okay,
could not suit up
so
prior to that.
that makes sense then if he's
Yeah.
attempting to get to know the team and do a lot of full practices with them
Exactly.
in going into the off season then.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. So that's kind of news. There's been a little bit of baseball news. I can't remember. Somebody left the Rangers and signed with the Seattle whatever they are.
There was also that kid from Japan that got signed by the Dodgers.
Yes, between him and Shohei, they are shelling out something like $1 billion.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you know the news on that happened from the Pat McAfee show? Ty Schmidt.
No, I missed that.
So apparently, Ty Schmidt, one of the guys that's on Pat McAfee's show, is a huge Yankees fan. He loves the Yankees. And he happened to be at a Christmas dinner with the whole crew and a couple other people. And one of them that was showing up was a guy that is another big Yankees fan that happens to know people that are in the know. That's the way that it was worded, but basically sources that are likely close enough to the Yankees organization.
Uh-oh.
Oh, hold on. I'll fix that. My shit just times out after 30 minutes, so I have to reset it every 30 minutes because there's no way for me to turn that off.
Ugh.
Anyways, yeah, I know. I'm looking to find a workaround for that, but I don't have one yet. Anyways, so basically, more or less, sources that are sort of in the know about what's going on with the Yankees, and apparently, Ty Schmidt at the time, this would have been, I think, what is it, Monday or Sunday? I don't remember. It might have been Sunday. Might have been Monday. I don't remember which day it was, but they were having their dinner, and he was talking to the other Yankees fan, and the other Yankees fan had basically been like, "Hey, we're getting that Japanese guy. I forget what his name is. Is it Nakamura or is
Something
it
like that.
I feel bad because I can't remember the guy's name. Anyways, they're like, he's coming to the Yankees. He's coming to the Yankees on a 9-year deal for like $46 million, right? Yeah, I know. You should look it up before I absolutely butcher the kid's name.
Yamamoto.
Yamamoto. Okay. So they were saying that, hey, he's going to the Yankees. It's going to be on a 9-year deal for $46 million. And Ty Schmidt, absolutely already been drinking at this point, was like, no fucking way. This guy is in the know. He knows other people who are in the know. And so what does Ty Schmidt do? He puts it out on Twitter that the Yankees, it's almost practically a done deal that the Yankees are going to get Yamamoto for a 9-year, $46 million contract. Less than 24 hours later, the what was that other insider that broke the news? I forget what his name is. Actually broke out that it was that Yamamoto was going to go to the Dodgers on a 12-year deal for $45 million, if I remember right. And needless to say, Ty Schmidt got lambasted on Twitter, like, because they're like, Yankees fans were like, how dare you get our hopes up? How dare you do bad journalism? You should just kill yourself, like all this other shit.
Wow.
And he was just like, And so Pat McAfee had this thing with Ty Schmidt while they were on air. It was just like, hey, did you know what was going on? And he was like, I had no idea until I woke up the next day. And oh my God. He's like, don't worry, guys. I'm just as upset as you are because I'm a Yankees fan. And it was just hilarious. So, Yankees fans got duped. Yamamoto goes to the Dodgers, not the Yankees. And what makes it even worse is that the Yankees were trying to be in the sweepstakes for Shohei Ohtani, and they weren't. So not only did they not get Ohtani, they also don't get Yamamoto. Oh boy, Yankees fans aren't happy right now.
Here you go. Did you also hear the Christmas gift that Shohei gave out?
I feel like I heard about it, but I don't remember.
So, Shohei, the number 17 was already in usage in the Dodgers by reliever Joe Kelly.
Right.
So, Joe decided that he would give the number up, but his wife Ashley said that Shohei owes us for that. So, Shohei showed up Christmas morning and bought her a brand new Porsche.
I mean, he's got so much fucking money now, so I
exactly.
Guess
it's a gag at this point, but yeah, it was funny. Like the reaction, because he filmed her reaction and put it up.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
And it absolutely blew up and was hilarious.
That's funny.
Oh, I love it. It's hilarious. It's great.
So the Dodgers are now going to be really good, probably, because not only do they have Ohtani, they have Yamamoto. So that's great.
Yay!
Now, granted, the Dodgers are going to be really sad in a couple years when all that money is owed.
All right. We also need to point out that twice suspended safety Kareem Jackson was dumped by the Broncos this week. Wasn't without a job for very long, as the Texans have already scooped him up.
Hopefully practice squad, and that's all he'll ever see, but I doubt it.
I doubt it, too. All right, we should probably talk now. I don't know that we have actual football news outside of the injuries. Nobody got fired.
No.
Yeah, nobody
No,
got fired. Nobody
so.
got fined. Nobody said anything egregious.
I mean, I'll get to him when we get to him. There's one character that I'm going to talk about that I feel like some people might know, but outside of that, not really, no.
Okay, so here's the injuries that I know about. And you can feel free, if I miss any, please correct me.
Yeah. There's a lot, to be fair.
I've got the major ones here that I know of.
Yeah.
So we're going to start with the two that have hurt me the most. TJ Hawkinson having a career year for the Vikings, having a fantastic season, leading tight end in the NFL, down. ACL and MCL. That's probably going to bleed into next season.
Probably.
Also in the same game, Vikings lose, who was having a personal career year, edge rusher DJ Wonnum to a quad tear. Partial quad at bare minimum. Quad does have four heads on that muscle. It sounds like he tore at least one of them off. He's definitely out until next season.
Yep.
Trevor Lawrence. He left the game. It has been determined that he has a sprained AC joint in his throwing shoulder. That leaves, considering that's the third week in a row of injury,
I'm well
that
aware.
does leave his status in doubt for the upcoming game.
Let's be honest, he shouldn't play.
He shouldn't. The problem is 3 teams are currently 8-7 in the AFC South.
Oh, yeah.
That division is very much up for grabs.
It is.
DTR, they did officially place him on IR. He will not play the rest of the season. He came in relief when the Browns were up big against the Texans, so that they wouldn't injure Joe Flacco, because they want to keep the Flacco master around for a while, and immediately injured his hip. I don't know what the injury is. It does not tell me. It's just a hip injury, and he's on IR.
Yep.
Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy went out of the game. He wasn't playing great, but apparently he got a stinger. Jalen Waddle would leave the game against the Cowboys with a shin injury. I haven't gotten an update on him. And Julian Blackmon, the safety from the Colts, he is officially on IR with a shoulder injury. So he will not finish the season with the Colts. Did I miss anything? Anything you remember?
That's what I'm trying to think if there's anybody that I remember, but I don't remember really anybody.
I don't remember anybody else either.
That I can think of anyway.
Yeah. So, that's the major bits of news. I will say hockey's been on a bit of a holiday. But the Wild are one of the hottest teams going into the holiday break. So we'll see if the second half here, if they turn things around before the trade deadline.
Yep.
Alrighty. So let's start then by talking about Week 16. Now, we're going to do this a little different. I'm not going to do all the talking. I've been noticing that I have a horrible tendency to take over things, and this should not be the Matt Talks at Chris for an hour and a half show.
What? Crazy talk.
This should be more of a collaborative effort. So I'm going to talk about a game. Chris is going to talk about a game. I'm going to talk about a game. Chris is going to talk about a game. We're going to go back and forth. I don't know if you know who we picked, but if you want me to chime in at the end, I have
no idea.
I could chime in at the end.
I'll just say whenever we get to it, I'll say the name of the game that I'm doing, the score, then you can chime in with whoever picked what, and then I'll go through the stats and anything I saw with the game. Granted, I didn't get to watch all the games because, Christmas and all that shit.
Oh, by the way, Merry Christmas to everybody.
We tried.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year to you fuckers, too.
Okay. Got that out of the way.
Got that out of the way. All right, so...
No one's going to watch this far. We're only 10 minutes in. No one's going to watch
No, nobody's going to watch the rest of this. Let's start then. I got the first game. Saints at Rams. We both picked the Rams. Guess what? Both correct. Rams win 30-22. Actually, not a bad game.
No, it was a pretty good game. Give me 1 second. Sorry, I got a text.
Go ahead.
All right, we're good. I was just checking to see if it was important. It's not super important.
Chris Olave and Puka Nacua both had great games. Stafford and Carr both had good games. In fact, the only blemish was Carr's pick.
True.
Yeah. Overall, very good game. The biggest difference was Alvin Kamara couldn't get shit going, and Kyron Williams decimated that fucking defense.
They very much did. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough to win my fantasy this week.
Oh, I got mollywomped. I got absolutely mollywomped.
I was close until 2 late games happened.
Wasn't even close.
And then it didn't end up. It ended with like 95 to 120.
Yeah, I wasn't even close this week. I came in leading because we do, like I said, we do 2-week playoffs, but no.
Oh yeah.
No. So
I'm playing for 3rd place next week, so.
Derek Carr, 27 of 40, 319, 3 touchdowns and a pick. Kamara, 9 carries, 19 yards. Olave, 9 receptions, 123 yards. Did he get another one? He didn't. So this is the first week where we've had in a little while where we haven't had a touchdown by the tight end. Buckets.
I don't think his name's Buckets.
It's not. It's not on the sheet either, so I don't even remember his name now.
Well, obviously you're not talking about Taysom Hill, so...
No, the one that used to play there forever and ever and ever and ever.
You're not talking about Johnson, are you?
No, the one that played with Drew Brees and then went to Green Bay. Everybody else knows who I'm talking about.
Yeah,
He was actually
not
one of the best tight ends to draft for a long time. Jimmy something or another.
Jimmy Graham.
Jimmy Graham. There we go.
There we go.
There we go. We got it.
I knew the last name, didn't know the first.
Jimmy Graham. We got it. On the other side, the Rams, Stafford, 24 of 34, 328, and 2 touchdowns. He's just getting better.
Dude, I'm telling you, after they got healthy, everything's just cooking for the Rams.
Stafford is a beast. Kyron Williams, 22 carries, 104 yards and a touchdown. Puka Nacua, 9 receptions, 164 yards, and a touchdown. If this team stays together over the offseason and Stafford doesn't retire or anything, I'm going to pick them as a potential playoff, maybe Super Bowl runner next year.
They're making playoffs this year.
Yeah,
I promise
more
you,
than
they're
likely.
making playoffs this year.
And they're not going to be a team that anybody wants to run into.
No, they're a dark horse team. Everyone's looking at that record and thinking that it's, they're going to be easier
Yeah,
than
but there
they
were
are.
so many injuries during that record, too.
That first half, I was going to say, if they didn't have as many first half injuries as they did.
And it
I
took a
promise
little
you
while
this-
to get
this team
Kyron
would be-
Williams going, and then he got injured, and Stafford was injured for a bit, and Kupp didn't get going until
was
like
out
week
for a
5
bit.
or 6.
Well, I think Cup was actually out for a bit, too. So,
Yeah.
I mean, so they just had injuries and issues all around the board. And now they're cooking.
Now they've gotten going, and they're dangerous.
This is a team that should have been double digits, to be honest with you. Like,
they
far
might
better
still
than
get
I
to
think.
double digits. They're 8 and 7.
No, I'm saying by now they should be already, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
they
but
should have
they'll still.
already
I
gotten-
think they'll get to 10 wins.
Oh yeah, I think they're going to win out the rest of their games because I
think
don't
so,
know
too.
who they play, but I don't think they're anything crazy. Isn't it like I think they played Cardinals in the last week, if I remember right?
No,
Rams, Cardinals. Oh,
Giants and then Niners.
oof. The Niners might be a little harder, but
That's gonna be.
we'll see.
That's
That'll be
gonna
a fun game though, because that'll tell you how good the Rams really are.
And it'll also tell you if the Niners are actually good or if they're a paper tiger.
I don't think they're a paper tiger. You got to remember that when we'll get there, but they played
One of the best
at
teams
the time
in football.
one of the best teams. Yeah, like they beat up everybody else. I mean, remember they smacked the shit out of the Eagles. So I mean,
But yeah, all right. Moving along. Then, do you have anything else about that game?
not really. No.
Okay,
It's good. Just a good game.
your turn.
Bengals versus Steelers. Bengals lose to the Steelers 11-34.
We both picked the Bengals. Guess what? We're both wrong.
We're both wrong. Unfortunately, this is again another showing of Jake Browning. Unfortunately, showing why he isn't a starter. Jake Browning was 28 for 42, 335 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions, and 1 fumble. That's gonna hurt. On top of that, we had Joe Mixon doing not quite enough. Joe Mixon 11 attempts for 43 yards, only 2 receptions for 7 yards. T. Higgins tried the best he could, though. 5 receptions for 140 yards and a touchdown. He was the only one trying to make that team work. Then, of course, we have the stats for the Steelers, which look a little better. Surprisingly, we have Mason Rudolph, 17 for 27, 290 yards, 2 touchdowns. The yardage and touchdowns are okay. Obviously, 17 for 27 isn't a fantastic, but you don't have to be fantastic. You had Najee Harris for 19 attempts going for 78 yards and a touchdown. George Pickens had 4 receptions for 195 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 little fumble. Let's ignore that. The rest of the game was really good. He had only 1 little tiny fumble. And then, of course, we do also have to talk about the fact that Patrick Peterson, Eric Rowe, and Alex Highsmith all got an interception off of Jake Browning. Again, one of those things that Jake Browning shows that he is not a starter, unfortunately. So I think that that really tells you. I only watched a little bit of this game, but kind of exactly what I told you. This was definitely one of those games where the Bengals just couldn't do enough on defense to stop the fact that they were turning over the ball so much.
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to.
I also want to point out that I irritated Chris.
Oh, don't you do it.
I'm not going.
Okay.
I'm not going to. I just want to say that I did invent Rudolph, the mighty armed quarterback or the strong armed quarterback, and I actually created the entire song. And Chris is like, no.
It was bad.
It's very. I will admit it's bad, but I will also admit,
not.
in fairness, it is meant to be bad.
It's atrocious. Trust
Again,
me, no one wants to hear it.
now you know what? If anybody wants to hear it, speak down there, and I will put the lyrics down there, so
Oh,
you can
God,
sing along
please.
for yourself. I may even
Oh,
record
God.
a video and throw it up on the channel of me singing
Oh
the song.
God. Oh no. Don't encourage him, whoever you are that watches this far.
Oh, but yeah, dude, that's a headline that wrote itself. Rudolph saves Steelers on Christmas.
That is true. That is pretty much what that was. To be fair, it wasn't entirely on him. He did well enough, but really those interceptions.
Yeah,
That's
no,
really
that
what it was. The
defense,
turnovers.
absolutely obliterated Jake Brown.
Yeah, it was the turnovers that really tell the tale of how that game went.
Yeah, I started him in fantasy, and I began to look at that, and I went, and then I saw that he went for 300 yards and a touchdown, and I was like, okay, well, that kind of offsets those interceptions.
Yeah,
Not enough.
great.
And the thing is, my other quarterbacks were Trevor Lawrence, who played like trash, and Kyler Murray, who kind of also played like trash. So
Here's the funny thing: is there's gonna be a theming that you're gonna notice as I go through the list, and I'm sure you noticed it too. You know, the QBs that had really high yardage also tended to turn over the ball a little bit more.
that's very, very true. That's very, very true.
I don't know if that was just a theme for this week, but it definitely feels like it.
All right. Next one on me, Bills at Chargers. We both picked the Bills. We were both correct. Barely.
That was a closer game
24-22
than I was
Bills. That
expecting.
was way closer than it should have been, Bills. Way closer than it should have been. You should not have let the Chargers, led by Easton Stick, get that close to you. And a lot of it is because you had just Dicker the kicker literally was the person that showed up for this game.
True. That's true. I
He had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 field goals in this game. He scored basically all of your points. You had 5 field goals by Dicker the kicker and 1 touchdown run by Easton Stick.
Woo!
Also, Cook did not cook this week.
No, not in comparison to what was it last week or the week before, where he had like a really good. Yeah.
Yeah. Gabe Davis, on the other hand, let's get to it. Josh Allen, 15-21, 237, a touchdown and a pick. Cook, 20 carries, 70 yards.
Oof.
Yeah. Gabe Davis, 4 receptions, 130 yards, and a touchdown. I also want to point out Stephon Diggs, 5 receptions, 29 yards. This marks the, 7th or 8th game in a row that he's failed to break 100 yards.
Ugh, that's not good.
No, it's not good. Something is wrong there, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if he's not trying as hard. I don't know if he's triple covered. I don't know what it is. So, on the other side, Easton Stick, 23 of 33, 215 yards. You know what he didn't do? Turn the ball over.
Wow, that's surprising. That's probably why they were still in the game at all then.
More than likely. Austin Eckler, 15 carries, 65 yards. Not bad for only 15 carries. That's
not
acceptable. And Palmer, 5 receptions, 47 yards. I mean, overall, that could have been a worse game for the Chargers.
Oh,
it
it
certainly
very well
could have
could
been way worse for Buffalo if
Oh,
they
yeah.
had lost that game. Quentin Johnson only had 2 catches. Is Keenan Allen hurt?
Didn't he get injured? I thought he got injured a couple weeks ago, and he's been out for like the last couple
Maybe.
weeks.
I know for certain Mike Williams has been on IR all season.
Yeah, but I thought Keenan Allen also.
Yeah,
got
I think
injured
so.
for
In
a
fact, I
couple
think we
weeks or
talked
something.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he
I
got
think we
banged
talked
up
about it.
and.
Yeah, he got banged up.
Well,
and
yeah, I
something.
don't think he got placed on IR, but I thought he got banged up.
No, he got banged up, and I think he's week to week.
Yeah.
So, But yeah, he definitely doesn't appear anywhere on there, and that's why I was like, there's something missing here.
Yeah. That's what's funny about that game is that if you think about it, maybe if Keenan Allen was there, maybe that game goes a little differently.
Maybe. Just
Yeah.
maybe. They do win it on the Tyler Bass field goal with 28 seconds left. Um, this was honestly a closer, better game than I thought it was going to be.
I didn't watch it, so I don't know.
It was
Outside of what I
actually
saw the
really
scoreline.
competitive. It was way more competitive than it had any right to be. And Cameron Dicker, that dude deserves to be in the Pro Bowl after a game like this. Just robotic out there. Like
Oh yeah.
his last kick that he made, he started with a 20-yarder, then he made a 40-yarder, then a 47-yarder, then a 45-yarder, and then they were like, "Fuck it, kick it from over 50." 53-yarder. Which actually put them up by 1 point with 5:26 to play.
Yeah.
So, like, that was a good game, to be honest. Buffalo, you should not have let them come that close, though.
Yeah, probably not.
Alrighty.
Probably not.
Next on the list is you. What you
All
want to talk
right,
about?
so we got Commanders versus Jets. Unfortunately, the Commanders lose to the Jets 28-30. Very close game. Very close game. I don't know what we picked on that one.
Commanders, Jets. We both picked the Commanders.
Oof, man, we both lost that one, didn't we?
Yeah!
Let's talk about it. So Sam Howell, 6 for 22, 56 yards, and 2 interceptions. Needless to say, Sam Howell got benched for Jacoby Brissett, who went 10 for 13 at 100 yards and a touchdown. So, yeah, this is why I'm saying I don't think they're going to stick with Sam Howell because he started the season pretty good, but these last couple of weeks have been declining, and this is probably the worst we've ever seen him play. This was horrible. Chris Rodriguez was in because I believe Robinson Jr. is still injured. I think he's still week to week, if I remember correct. So he had 10 attempts for 58 yards and 2 touchdowns. Not a lot of yards, but he did good on the goal line, which is fine. Antonio Gibson had 9 attempts for 30 yards and a touchdown. So clearly, Commanders have a running game that works okay. Scary Terry didn't do much. He had 3 receptions for 50 yards. Not horrible, not great. Logan Thomas had 5 receptions for 36 yards and the touchdown. And Jahan Dotson had 2 receptions for 31 yards, with Cody Barton bringing in 1 interception on their defense. Now let's look at the Jets. Let's look at Trevor Siemian, because he was the one quarterbacking. 27 for 49. They asked Trevor Siemian to throw the ball 49 times. I'm going to get to why this makes no sense when we get there. 217 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and 1 fumble. He pulled a hat trick. Now, here's what the problem that I have with why they asked him to throw the ball 49 times. Breece Hall, 20 attempts for 95 yards, 2 touchdowns, 12 receptions for 96 yards. Why aren't you just giving him the ball more? Obviously, it was working. Then, of course, their other running back, I'm probably going to butcher his name, Israel Abenkanada? Abenakada? I can't say his name, I'm sorry. That last name is hard to say. 9 attempts for 43 yards. Another, 9 attempts, 43 yards, pretty decent. So, again, their running game was working just fine. You didn't need Trevor Siemian throwing it 49 times. Garrett Wilson, 9 receptions for tongue-tied. 9 receptions for 76 yards. Quincy Williams and Tony Adams are the ones that pulled in an interception off of Sam Howell each. So, again, the real reason the Commanders lost this game is, honestly, they took way too long to bench Howell. I don't think they benched him until it was the 3rd quarter, if I remember right.
Think so, yeah.
And Jacoby Brissett took over that team and immediately drove him down to a touchdown. There was no reason to have Howell in for as long as they did. It was clearly not working. I actually almost believe that if they would have put in Brissett earlier, that they might have actually had a chance at winning this game because, he's the one that actually drove them down the field and almost got them the win several times. So,
I believe
again,
it is pronounced. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I believe it is pronounced Abanikanda.
Bonnie Conda. That's possible. Either way, hard to say the name. Apologies. Regardless, it is. This was another tale of just a little too many turnovers. Sam Howell had not done great, and Trevor Siemian turning over the ball twice as well, and that's what gave the Commanders chances in this game at all. So, two teams that really aren't great, and one made a little less mistakes than the other, and that's really what happened here. It was a pretty ugly football game all around, to be honest with you. It was fun to watch only because of how atrocious each team was really playing.
So, you remember at the beginning of the season when they signed Brissett, and I said they should start him?
Yeah.
And you told me that you thought he was only a backup?
I still don't think he's a starter quarterback. I don't think he's a starter caliber, but he is a guy that can come in and win you a couple games. I don't disagree with that. He's a very good. He's a low-level starter at best with that's a high caliber backup.
He's a bridge back.
Yeah.
He gets you to your next big quarterback.
He's a Tyler Heineke, right?
Yes.
Another guy who can start on occasion and maybe even start a season, but you really probably don't want him always starting. There you go.
Yep.
And I think we've only proven that Sam Howell has moments where he's really good, but the last couple of weeks have been questionable to say the least. I don't think that he is the starter. I think he's another bridge quarterback, put it that way.
So, question. How much are you going to laugh if they pick Drake May from North Carolina, considering Sam Howell is from North Carolina?
I mean, I think that's just circumstantial. I don't think that there's any, it's not purposely done.
No,
it's
but
gonna be funny.
You have to admit, it's funny. The guy that replaced him in North Carolina when he left is the guy that's going to replace him in the NFL.
Yeah, potentially.
I still find it funny.
It's possible it could happen. It would be kind of funny. What would be even funnier is if Drake May is the exact same type of QB. Can you imagine that they think they get their next guy who just turns out to be another bridge quarterback? And you're just like, how can we ever find our franchise guy? God. That would be bad.
All right, next along the line, it's my turn. Browns at Texans. On this game we split. I picked the Browns, you picked the Texans. Ouch.
Yep.
I win. Browns win 36-22. This was not a great game for the Texans.
Not really, no.
I do believe they lost Case Keenum early and did have to turn to the long neck.
Davis Mills. I thought it was about the second quarter, but yeah.
Yeah, like I said, early.
Yeah.
Look, this game was the Amari Cooper game. Amari Cooper took this game over. There's no question about it. Flacco was decent, but he still managed to throw 2 interceptions.
But that's the gunslinger.
That's the gunslinger thing, so I'm not being mad at him. But Amari Cooper, on the other hand, set a new franchise record for receiving yards. Unfortunately, he fell about 100 yards short of the NFL record for receiving yards in a single game.
Yeah.
Flacco, 27 of 42, 368 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. Ford, 15 carries, 25 yards, and a touchdown. He didn't run much, and they didn't ask him to.
Didn't need him to, yep.
Cooper, 11 receptions, 265 yards, 2 touchdowns. So if you had Amari Cooper starting in your fantasy league, chances are pretty high you won your game this week.
Yeah, I saw somebody on our not I wasn't playing him thankfully, but I saw somebody in our matchups that did have him. 55 points. I haven't seen a single player earn 55 points in a while.
The closest I've seen
nutty.
was the 40 points that I got last week out of CMC.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen 40s once in a while, even 45ers, but 55, jeez.
Yeah, it's been a while for me, too.
That guy single-handedly won that dude his matchup.
Oh, yeah. On the other side, Davis Mills, 15 of 32, 149, and 2 touchdowns. He wasn't bad in relief.
He's not bad. It's clear that he still needs time to develop if he's ever going to be a starter.
I
He
don't
might
think
be
he
just
ever would
he might
be.
be just if he ever goes anywhere, he might be just a bridge QB at best, more likely a serviceable backup.
I agree with that. Singletary, 9 carries, 44 yards. Schultz, 8 receptions for 61 yards. Also, Noah Brown, 3 for 38. Nico Collins did get in. He got 4 for 18 and a touchdown.
Yeah, the one touchdown is the only thing that made me kind of happy with having him on my roster.
Yeah, yeah, I can understand that. Um, I do believe, though, that one of their scores did come from. It did. Damon Pierce. He hasn't been doing
Yeah.
good behind center, but he can return kicks.
Oh
Five
yeah.
for 174 yards. He had a 98-yard touchdown kickoff return.
Yep.
Um, yay! if you
Woo!
if you can't be the starting running back anymore, maybe you can be the starting kick returner.
And honestly, Devin Singletary has been doing fine behind the line for as a running back in place of him, surprisingly enough.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not mad about that. I am kind of because I drafted him, but I thought for sure
I have Singletary, so I'm perfectly content.
Anyway, yeah, I don't have much else to say about that game. I will say that the Browns are going to make the playoffs. Their defense is still monstrous, and I find it funny that it's Joe Flacco.
I mean, the problem is that the gunslinger archetype is kind of going out of style, mostly due to the fact that teams are learning that, gee, turning over the ball tends to lose you games. And gunslingers, unfortunately, nowadays, unless you have a really good defense to support it, or you have some really good wide receivers, doesn't tend to work out very well. Or you have to have gunslingers who are great if they're on their side of the field and then can protect the ball when they're in the red zone, because there are some QBs who can do that. I mean, the closest example of that would be Brett Favre, right? Brett Favre was great at gunslinging the ball, but when he was in the red zone, he typically was much better at being careful with what he did with the ball.
Peyton Manning.
And that's what made him more Peyton Manning, exactly. Another example. Somebody who can do that. The problem is that a lot of the gunslingers we see currently in the league are just always gunslingers. Period. End of story. There is no extra protection in the red zone that they should have. A little extra touch, a little extra finesse.
Drew Brees,
they're missing that extra thing. Yeah, Drew Brees is another one. Like, they just don't quite have that extra finesse that they need to have to be super successful if they want to be gunslingers.
But that's because I think that quarterbacks these days have fallen into two different types of categories now. You really don't have gunslingers anymore. What you have are mostly West Coast style spread quarterbacks who are short dink and dunk routes. And you have the dual threat mobile quarterbacks. And they're not asked to do anything more than throw the ball super deep. You don't need to put any touch on it. And when they get down in the red zone, they aren't looking to put any touch on the ball. They're looking to juke jive and shuck their way into the end zone.
Either they're going to get it in themselves, or they're going to just, when they do throw it to somebody, it's going to be a zinger. It's not going to have any touch whatsoever on it. It's just going to be, I'm going to throw it in as hard as possible into this little tiny zone, and it'll squeak in because of how hard I'm throwing the ball.
Yep. So, I think you're exactly correct on that.
Yep.
Okay, your turn.
All right, next game we have Colts versus the Falcons. The Colts do lose to the Falcons 10-29, which, man, if I remember right, I picked the Colts, and I'm a little sad about it.
We both picked the Colts, and we're both a little sad about it.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Unfortunately, things didn't go well. Gardner Minshew, 20 for 37, not horrible. 201 yards, 1 interception, and he had 4 runs for 31 yards. He tried a little bit, sorta. 20 for 37 isn't great, but it's certainly not bad in comparison to what we've seen. JT, unfortunately, had 18 runs for only 43 yards. Did manage to get a touchdown, but 18 runs for 43 yards is not what you expect out of a top running back. Kylan Grayson had 5 receptions for 62 yards. Will Mallory had 4 receptions for 47 yards and a fumble. Josh Downs then had 6 receptions for 39 yards. Yeah, unfortunately, what you're going to notice is that while Gardner Minshew was 20 for 37, a lot of them tended to be pretty short passes, unfortunately. The defense was kind of stifling. So let's look at the Falcons. They had Taylor Heineke starting for them rather than Desmond Ridder this game. Turned out to work out pretty well for him. 23 for 33, 229 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 fumble as well, but, you know, it happens. But then, of course, we have Bijan Robinson. 12 attempts for 72 yards and 7 receptions for 50 yards. Definitely got a little bit more involved in this game and played better than JT. Like, there's no question that Jonathan Taylor did not play up to expectations in comparison. And then even on top of that, Tyler Algier had 9 runs for 69 yards and a touchdown and another reception for 19 yards. Overall, that dual threat running back system that they got going on, when they actually run it Arthur Smith, fucking works. It works when you actually use your players. Kyle Pitts had 3 receptions for 49 yards and a touchdown, and Drake London had 3 receptions for 39 yards. Honestly, it comes down to exactly what we already talked about with the stats. Geez, use Bijan Robinson. It works. It just works. That's all I gotta say about it. That's what I saw from the game. Is I just saw Bijan getting used more and went, Arthur Smith, why the fuck are you not using Bijan? What's going on? This is why you're gonna lose your job.
Yeah, Bijan, from what I saw, actually looked really good in this game.
He looked fantastic.
Yeah, looked worthy where they picked him. They haven't been using him hardly all season. I don't know what the hell goes through Arthur Smith's head, but I'm quite certain the voices in his head just take turns writing plays.
He's got 3 personalities, and and one of them really hates Bijan Robinson.
Yes. All right, next along. Are you done? I
am done with that one.
Okay. We have the Seahawks at the Titans. You picked the Seahawks. I picked the Titans. Yeah, I shouldn't have done that.
To be fair, it was close for a while.
It was. It ended up pretty close. The Seahawks do win that 20-17, keeping their slim playoff hopes alive.
Yep. Very slim.
I mean, Geno looked pretty good coming back into this game overall. I'm not actually mad at it. And then, of course, there was a, good Lord, DK Metcalf had one of those catches where you just look at it and you go,
oh, yeah.
How
did he catch that?
How did you get that? Because it was like one arm,
one
hand.
The touchdown pass one.
The touchdown.
Oh, no, you're talking about the one arm one.
The one hand in the back of the end zone. You just go, how?
Yeah. Like, they even looked at it first and was like, no, there's no way that was a touchdown. And then when I saw the replay, I was like, oh, shit,
yeah, that's
that
a touchdown. Absolutely. When we get there, JJ had one of those this week, and we just, both you and I, your response was, how the fuck did he catch that?
Yeah, there was no reason for it.
Yeah. Dude, there have been some catches this year where you just go, what? Yeah. But, overall, unfortunately, Will Levis was injured. I don't know if that changes the outcome of the game, but I think it might.
It's possible, but honestly, Tannehill didn't play that poorly.
He didn't, but neither did he play super stellar either.
I think, honestly, based on how good that Seahawks defense can be at times, they might have been just as annoying for Levis as it would have been for Tannehill, to be fair.
I just think Levis has a bit more, like, ability to escape.
He's got more mobility, yeah. That's
mobility
the one thing
and
that
stuff
might
like
have
that.
saved him.
Yeah. Anyway, Geno Smith, 25 of 36, 227, 2 touchdowns. Walker the third, 16 carries, 54 yards. And Tyler Lockett, 8 receptions for 81 yards. I will also point out that Geno did run one for 2 yards.
Woo! Good job.
JSN, 6 for 61. And Metcalf, 4 for 56 and a touchdown. The other touchdown was by Colby Parkinson.
Alrighty then. Good job, Colby.
Good job, Colby. It's not as good a name as Jake Bobo.
No, it's not.
Who's also on that team.
No, I know.
On
He
the
hasn't
other
done a lot
side,
recently.
Ryan Tannehill, 18 of 26, 152 yards. Derrick Henry, 19 carries, 88 yards, 1 touchdown. I believe he also had, we'll get to it, he had 1 pass that he completed.
No, I think he had 2.
1 of 1 for 12 yards and a
Oh,
touchdown.
okay, it was 1. I thought he threw it a second one, but that might have
Nope.
been last week.
Maybe they should start Derrick Henry at quarterback.
Okay, let's not go that far. It wasn't a pretty pass.
It wasn't, but it got the job done. Tyjae Spears, 9 for 40. That is not bad. And
Not horrible, no.
as much smack as I talked about Tannehill, he did take off 2 times for 37 yards.
Yeah, he's not super mobile, but he can move.
I'm not going to try his first name, so Chi Okonkwo.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
6 receptions, 63 yards, and a touchdown. Tyjae Spears also caught 5 balls for 27 yards. And that's about the only thing that you could really say about Tennessee. Tannehill
Honestly,
did lose a fumble.
Yep. This is one of those games that it was clear that this was Derrick Henry still trying to show that he is worth money somewhere.
Yeah, I feel like that was the thing. And in fact, it will lead into one of my hot potatoes, or one of my, no, not hot potatoes, one of my infernos.
Okay.
Yeah. But overall, that was a closer game than I think most people thought. In fact, Tennessee led with 3:21 left to go in the third. Nobody scored in the fourth. Or no, 3:21 in the fourth. My bad. And then with 57 seconds left, the Cardiac Seahawks, they get a 5-yard pass from Smith to Colby Parkinson to win the game.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's something the Seahawks have been doing this season, is snatching victory from the jaws of defeat.
They have been, that's true.
They have been. They are, like, if I'm in the NFC, that's another team I don't think I want to run into in the playoffs. Is he asleep?
Cuddling.
Okay.
He's been cuddling this entire time right there, right in the crook of my neck.
Yep. I wasn't sure if he was knocked the fuck out or not.
He might be. He might be napping, but it doesn't sound like it. I can feel him moving once in a while. I think he's just cuddling.
Okay. Well, it makes
I
him
was just
happy.
showing the camera that, like, see, he's there. Just chilling. Being adorable at night, because that's the only time he's adorable is at night when he's tired.
The rest of the time, he's the spawn of Satan.
Quite often, yeah. He bit me earlier today, and that went well for him.
Before we get to the next game, who won the Uno or the Trivial Pursuit Infinite?
Well, there was one person that ended up apparently watching all the movies about a week ago, and he's the one that won. What a fucking shocker. I just wish that he was a little bit more humble about it. Yeah.
Yeah. We love you, but you need to learn humility.
Yeah. I'm going to save my next game for later, because, well, I got words on that one.
So go to another one then.
That's what I'm doing. I'm going to save that one for last. So the next one on my list, I have Cardinals versus the Bears. Cardinals lose the Bears 16-27.
You had picked the Cardinals.
Yep.
I picked the Bears. I win.
You know, I thought the Cardinals were going to show up. This was the game that if they wanted to try to show up to a potentially weaker team, this is the one that I was expecting them to. Unfortunately, the Bears showed that they're a wee bit better than I was expecting. Let's get into the stats. So first we have Kyler Murray, 24 for 38. Not fantastic, not horrible. 230 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 fumble, and 5 runs for an additional 32 yards. You know, again, Kyler Murray things. This is the stat line you expect to see from Kyler Murray, so it wasn't exactly bad. James Conner, 12 attempts for 45 yards, 5 receptions for 67 yards, and another touchdown. He couldn't really get going great on the ground, but they utilized him as a dual threat back in the way that they're supposed to, so he did okay. Greg Dortch had... Yeah, go ahead.
I am sorry. I have breaking news.
Okay.
NBA breaking news. The Pistons have dropped an NBA record 27th straight game. They have now lost 27 in a row. Good job, Pistons. You hold a record.
I don't think that's a record anyone wants to have, to be fair.
I'm sorry. I had to put that out. Moving along.
Greg Dortch had 2 receptions for 45 yards, a touchdown. Amari DeMarcado.
DeMarcado?
I think that. DeMarcado? I think it could be DeMarcado. 7 receptions for 40 yards. Trey McBride had only 6 receptions for 31 yards. And I honestly believe that's one of the reasons that they also lost. Trey McBride, when they do well, have better chances at winning. And I don't mean as in like he played poorly. I just mean as in people have been finally realizing that Trey McBride is a top tight end and really good if you leave him enough room. Unfortunately, the defenses are starting to kind of catch on to that and taking away one of another person Kyler Murray likes to throw the ball to, unfortunately. Jalen Thompson did come away with 1 interception for the Cardinals. On to the Bears. Justin Fields, 15 for 27 for 170 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and 9 running attempts for 97 yards and a touchdown. Honestly, Justin Fields didn't look great throwing the ball. He looked okay, but man, he just proved the one problem that you have for every defense, which is can't catch me. Like, that's really what it was. Can't catch me. Khalil Herbert had 20 attempts running the ball for 112 yards and 1 touchdown. Cole Kmet had 4 receptions for 107 yards. DJ Moore had 3 receptions for only 18 yards. And Mercedes Lewis had 1 reception for 1 yard and 1 touchdown.
Yay,
So
Mercedes!
Good job, Mercedes Lewis. He's been around for a while. So.
He has. I remember when he came out of college.
Yeah.
UCLA.
So ultimately the Bears did well. Justin Fields didn't look great, like I said, throwing the ball, but he didn't have to with the fact that not only was he running the ball, so was Khalil Herbert. They were just running all over them and just were making it look easy, frankly.
Yeah. The amount of times he escaped the pocket that I watched in that game, I was like, Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really what it was, is that the Bears just went, fine, we won't throw on you, we'll just run down your gut, and you won't stop us. And that's exactly what happens.
So, having seen this, would you say that Justin Fields is finally progressing?
I still worry about his throwing, to be honest. Every time I watch him, I still get concerned with his throwing capability, because he clearly can throw it, but he still seems to somehow look nervous throwing or look off when he's throwing at times, and it just concerns me a little bit. He's still definitely a dual threat quarterback, but like, if you were to ask me which one I thought looked better between Justin Fields and Kyler Murray, I would say Kyler Murray, no questions. He lost, but he looked more comfortable.
Maybe a new coach?
Maybe. I'm just worried that this is just the Justin Fields we're going to get, which is he can throw it sometimes, but he's more comfortable with running the ball.
You know, that's what they said about Lamar for a while, too. And then I think he took an offseason and worked with a bunch of quarterback coaches, and he got comfortable throwing. And now you can see this season, he definitely looks more comfortable throwing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
maybe he just needs times with more quarterback coaches. I don't know.
Maybe.
Either way, I'm still concerned with his development not going the way that I think it should. Is maybe how I'll word it. He still feels like he's not developing nearly as fast as what you'd want for your star quarterback.
I agree. But I feel like it's there.
He's got potential, but again, you know, you can only say that for so long until you just have to go, is this even working?
All right, you done?
Yep.
All right, moving along then. Packers at Panthers. We both picked the Packers, and we were both correct. But oh boy, this game should cost Joe Barry his job.
Panthers made it close, man.
Yeah, this was one of the best games I've seen the Panthers play all season, to be completely honest with you.
Oh, yeah.
This also easily the best game I've seen from Bryce Young.
Which is funny, because wasn't it also pouring like shit out?
I think so. But
Like-
easily the best game I've seen him play. And I think that's thank you, Joe Barry's defense. Or lack thereof.
Yeah. That defense was having a tough time against a relatively clawless Panthers.
But you know what? He looked. I'm not gonna say nothing. Bryce Young looked good, so let's get into it. Let's hit the stats up. Jordan Love, 17 of 28. That ain't great, dude. 219,
Not great.
2 touchdowns.
Not horrible, not great.
No, not horrible, not great. He did not fumble. There was a fumble, but it was not by him. Aaron Jones, 21 carries and 127 yards. He also had 1 catch for 8 yards. A.J. Dillon, 7 for 12 and a touchdown. It's obvious who's getting the goal line work.
Yeah.
Romeo Doubs, 4 receptions, 79 yards and a touchdown. Also a fumble.
Poor Dobbs.
Tucker Kraft, 4 for 60. Bo Melton, 4 for 44. And Dontavian Wicks, 2 for 29 and a touchdown of 21 yards.
Woo.
Yay. Overall, not bad. Could be worse. Could be better. They do win 33-30. On the other side, though, Bryce Young, 23 of 36, 312 yards, 2 touchdowns. Also ran 4 times for 17 yards. Did I believe he was charged with the fumble, but I also believe he recovered his own fumble.
I believe so.
I believe so. DJ Chark also fumbled once, but it was recovered by Tommy Tremble. Look, this is the kind of performance you expect from the number 1 overall pick.
This is closer to what people were hoping to see week 1.
Yes. I'm happy they're seeing it now. It proves that it's there.
It proves it proves that there was a reason why he was drafted as high as he was. Now, should he have been drafted 1 overall, I still think is a big fat no. But
I still say
top
it should have been
5, top
Stroud.
10? Yeah, exactly. Top 5, though? Maybe. The problem is we need to see him do this more often going forward now.
I agree.
The problem is, are we going to get that with this coach? Do we need a different head coach? Is there a reason why he wasn't developing under Frank Reich? Was it Frank Reich that was actually a problem? Or was it just that the offense didn't fit Bryce Young and they were trying to force it to fit when it didn't?
And that could also be on Frank Reich.
Which also could have been Frank Reich. Who knows?
Chuba Hubbard, 16 for 43 and a touchdown. Not bad. I mean, not great, but not bad.
Not bad.
They did bottle up. They did a good job against rushing. Except for Emir Smith-Marset. Only rushed 2 times. Got 33 yards out of it, though, and a touchdown.
Yeah, it works.
DJ Chark, 6 catches, 98 yards, 2 touchdowns. Adam Thielen, 6 catches, 94 yards. Tommy Tremble, 4 receptions, 59 yards. Overall, this was a very complete game from the Panthers. If you are a Carolina fan, yeah, you're mad that you've given your first overall pick this year to the Bears, but a game like this has to give you hope. That potentially with the right moves in the future, you've got something. The issue is, I don't think you're going to make the right moves, and your owner is an idiot.
That's what I was going to say. Like, it looks promising until you remember who the owner is, and you go, but I don't know about that.
But we both get the victory out of this one as we both picked the Packers, as I mentioned.
I still feel gross.
That is the end of this for me. Your next game,
Alright.
sir.
Next game we have Patriots versus Broncos. Patriots beating out the Broncos 26-23.
We
Man,
both
that was shocking.
and we both picked the Broncos. That didn't
Man, I
go well.
regret that decision.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it, shall we? Bailey Zappi started for the Patriots, as he has been for the last couple weeks. 25 for 33, 256 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 fumble. Not horrible, not great, but certainly far better than whatever Mac Jones has been putting on the goddamn tape. Ezekiel Elliott had 12 attempts for only 27 yards, which is fucking atrocious. However, he had 9 receptions for 33 yards and a touchdown. So they're trying to kind of dual threat him. Unfortunately, not he's not it on the ground anymore. But unfortunately, Ramondre Stevenson was still out for this game. He has been week to week, so they're doing the best they can with their running system that they really don't have. Kevin Harris had also 7 attempts for only 21 yards. So while he didn't run it as much, he had almost as much as Ezekiel Elliott with 12 attempts. So, that's not great. Demario Douglas had 5 receptions for 74 yards, and Mike Gesicki had 2 receptions for only 15 yards, but the one of the touchdowns that Bailey Zappi threw. Unfortunately, that's the only thing I got to say about the Patriots. What you might notice is that, the amount of touchdowns all of a sudden doesn't add up for how the fuck did they get 26 points. Well, there was some field goals that got made and missed, but that also doesn't even account for it. I had to dig for this because I forgot about it completely. There was a muffed punt that ended up turning into a touchdown for the Patriots that wasn't on the stat sheet anywhere. I had to look it up drive by drive to see that that's what happened because there was no credit for who even got that touchdown. So, and on top of that, to make it better, the reason it wasn't 27-26 is because their kicker missed the extra point on that. So, yeah, that should tell you how interesting this game went. Now let's talk about the Broncos. Russell Wilson, 25 for 37, 238 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 4 runs for 20 yards with 2 fumbles. So yeah, you're just gonna enjoy this battery symbol for a while. Get over it.
until it dies completely. And then
In which case, then I'll just be silently waving to you.
You may have to switch over to your webcam.
I don't even have it hooked up anymore. So I'll have to frantically go grab it and hook it back up.
Yep.
Anyways, we'll deal with that later. So yeah, Russell Wilson had 2 fumbles. Unfortunately, didn't do great. Jaleel McLaughlin had 6 attempts running the ball for 37 yards. Javonte Williams had 11 attempts for 24 yards, 1 touchdown, and another fumble. Yay, that's 3 fumbles now. Fantastic. That's also telling you how well this game went. Marvin Mims had 3 receptions for 63 yards and another fumble. Yay! Brandon Johnson, 3 receptions for 47 yards, 1 touchdown. Jerry Jeudy, 3 receptions for 44 yards. And Lucas Krull for 4 receptions, 28 yards, and 1 touchdown. Yeah, the Broncos lost to themselves. You turn over the ball 4 times, and that's kind of that's going to happen. So there you go. This game was kind of shit to watch, in all honesty. I didn't like the game at all.
Yeah, I could understand that. You got anything else on it?
Honestly, that's all I gotta say about it, is that it was just an ugly game that got won by Patriots special teams almost, in a way. Like,
all right then. Alrighty. So, looking at that now, though, we were talking about the Jags and the Bucks. We both picked the Bucks. We were both right. The Bucks win 30-12.
yeah, that hurt my soul.
Let's get into this because Trevor Lawrence didn't look very good.
No. I'm well aware.
17 of 29, really 211 yards, a touchdown, and 2 picks. He was overthrowing people. You can tell the injuries are catching up with him in this game.
Oh, yeah.
I honestly feel like he should sit the next game.
Probably.
Will he? Probably not. Not unless he's forced to.
Not unless he's forced to.
He also ran the ball 4 times for 29 yards, which, by the way, makes him their leading rusher.
Oh,
Evan Ingram, 10 receptions, 95 yards. Yeah, the magic they had last year isn't there this year.
yeah, something feels off, and I don't know what it is. The beginning of the season looked good, and now this back half is looking questionable.
Very much so. Very, very much so. Um, Calvin Ridley did catch 2 touchdown passes. Well, he caught two, one from Lawrence and one from Beathard, um, which was really the extent of the Jaguars' offense.
Yeah.
The game was basically dominated from almost from start to finish by the Bucks. Mayfield, 26 of 35, 283 yards and 2 touchdowns. Rashawn White, 20 carries, 39 yards and a touchdown. That's not great yardage, but you got a touchdown.
Woo.
Evans, 7 receptions, 86 yards and 2 touchdowns. Okay, that's better. Not horrible. Could be worse.
Really, Bird?
Rashad White also had 6 receptions for 38 yards. So, but yeah, overall kind of weird. Very good game though for Baker.
Oh yeah.
They had a very good game. Also, shout out to both Devin White and Antoine Winfield Jr. They both picked off Lawrence. Unfortunately, also Winfield Jr. recovered a fumble along with Yaya Diaby. Fumbles from the Jaguars. Lawrence fumbled twice, lost one. Ingram fumbled one, lost one. Dearness Johnston was able to corral the other Lawrence fumble. So you can definitively tell there's something not right with the Jags right now. I don't know what it is, but they don't look as good as they did.
Yeah. Don't know.
Don't know either. All right, your turn.
All right, now it's time to talk about the Ravens versus the 49ers. The Ravens winning over the 49ers 33-19. Ouch. I don't know what teams we picked on that one.
I believe we both picked the Niners. We did.
Oh, that's a big oof by us.
Big oof.
Let's talk about it. Lamar Jackson, 23 for 35, 252 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 7 running attempts for 45 yards. Pretty good, not great. Surprisingly, most of that came in the second half. Gus Edwards, 9 attempts for 31 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 reception for 39 yards. Yeah, only 1 reception for 39 yards. I don't know about you, but that's a pretty good stat, actually. Zay Flowers, 9 receptions, 72 yards, 1 touchdown. Isaiah Likely, 3 receptions, 56 yards. Nelson Aguilar, 3 receptions for 10 yards and 1 touchdown. Yeah, Lamar Jackson is throwing the ball around to anybody who wants to catch it. And that's one of the reasons this team is working so well, is that they have multiple people that have good hands. Kyle Hamilton had 2 interceptions, and Marlon Humphrey, Marcus Williams, and Patrick Queen also had interceptions of their own.
A lot of them were batted.
A lot of them were batted, but that's one thing that I'll say about the Ravens is they are ball hawks. They see the ball in their air, they're fucking going for it.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately, let's look at the stat line for the 49ers, and yeah, this is going to hurt everyone. Brock Purdy, 18 of 32 for 255 yards and 4 interceptions. Eventually, he gets benched late in the fourth, early in the fourth, actually, if I remember right.
Early in the fourth.
Sam Darnold comes in, 8 for 14 for 81 yards, 1 touchdown, and another interception. That's 5 total interceptions by the 49ers. You want to know why they lost? Well,
there you go.
I think that gives you the answer. Christian McCaffrey had 14 attempts, 103 yards, 1 touchdown, and 6 receptions for 28 yards. The only person that showed up to play fucking football.
Kittle.
I know. George Kittle did too. 7 receptions for 126 yards. Brandon Ayuk also showed up with 6 receptions on 13 yards. Deebo Samuel with 4 receptions, 47 yards. And Ronnie Bell with 1 reception, 12 yards, and the 1 touchdown from Sam Darnold. Yeah, see, all that hurts me even more is when you see George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, Christian McCaffrey pop off. That means the 49ers were moving the ball and losing the ball quite often, either in the red zone or on the opponent's side of the field. And there's nothing more killer or more damaging to a drive and motivation for a team than driving the ball, doing well, and then all of a sudden coughing it up. And doing that 5 fucking times. And the Ravens capitalized on every single one of them.
The first one he threw, too, I looked at it and I went, oh.
Most of his didn't look great, outside of the fact that I think, 2 of them were batted.
Yeah. Kyle Hamilton's on that first one, though, and even the announcers said it. If Ayuk was his first read instead of his third read, he makes that throw, it's a touchdown.
Probably, yeah.
Because he makes that throw a lot earlier, and Hamilton doesn't have time to get over.
Right.
But he waited, and that throw came too late, and Hamilton was able to cross it and pick it off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is another tale of too many turnovers, loses you the game, and that's exactly what happened.
Yep.
The Ravens' defense capitalized on it. Whenever they saw a bad throw or saw Brock Purdy throwing the ball a little lower than he should have, quite often, the linemen on the Ravens side just had his number. They just knew when he was throwing that they could bring up their hands and bat it down. Like, it happened a lot.
It did. It really did.
And even though the 49ers have a good defense, I mean, when you're out on the field that long, I mean, you're going to get tired.
All right. From here, you only have one other game left. Let me run through the other games, and then you can wrap it up with the final game, because we're going to have a lot of thoughts on that one. How does that sound?
Oh, that's fine.
Alrighty. So after that, Cowboys-Dolphins. We both picked the Dolphins. Hey, we're both right. Although it was a lot closer than it was
pretty close.
It was a good game. Dolphins win 22-20. Dak Prescott 20 of 32, 253, 2 touchdowns. Pollard 12 carries, 38 yards is not going to get it done, my dude. Lamb, though, 6 receptions, 118 yards, and a touchdown. Good job. Tua Tagovailoa, 24 for 37, 293 and a touchdown. Mostert, 11 for 46. Tyreek Hill, 9 for 99. Also, Dak did run 5 times for 25 yards. Tolbert caught 2 balls for 51, and Ferguson 4 for 45. On the Dolphins side, A-Chain only went 7 times for 24 yards. Wilson Jr. went 5 for 21. Waddle only caught 1 for 50, and that's where he injured his shin. And Durham Smythe, 5 for 56. The game was really close. The Dolphins do pull it out 22-20. They finally beat a team over 500. And there were some missed calls that have been pointed out by the Cowboys, especially on one of those final drives where it's very obvious that Micah Parsons is getting held. And they just blatantly missed. The refs just blatantly missed that.
Yeah, that happens on occasion, unfortunately.
Yep, that does. All right, next 2 here. Raiders at Chiefs. I took the long shot and picked the Raiders. You picked the Chiefs. Raiders win 20-14. What world are we living in?
I don't know. The Chiefs are having a tough time, man.
They are having a very tough time. And here's the thing. Looking at the stats, there's no way the Raiders should have won.
No, not at all.
Aiden O'Connell,
Honestly,
Aiden O'Connell, 9 of 21. for 62 yards. It's abysmal.
Oh yeah.
Zaire White, though, 22 carries, 145. That's not bad. Jacobs is still
decent.
out, but that's pretty good. Myers,
Yeah.
3 receptions, 42 yards. There's no way they should win this game.
But
you know how they won it?
Oh, I know exactly how they won it. 2 touchdowns in 7 seconds. Defense did all the fucking work in that game.
Bilal Nichols, an 8-yard fumble return, and Jack Johnson picks off Mahomes, goes 33 yards for the touchdown.
Back-to-back fucking plays, man. That's gotta hurt.
Yeah, that killed him. Mahomes, 27 of 44.
Again, not great.
235, a touchdown, and a pick. Not great at all. Also, it's not great when Pat Mahomes goes 10 times for 53 yards to be your leading rusher.
Nope.
And Rashee Rice, 6 for 57. Look, this game was abysmal from the Chiefs. I don't know what's wrong in Chiefs land, but this is not the Chiefs we thought we were getting, and it's entirely possible they don't get to double-digit wins.
Honestly, I don't know what their next couple of games are, but it is very possible.
The next and last two. Bengals?
Which are beatable.
Chargers.
Also beatable. So they should make double digits.
If they don't win those games, they're not going anywhere in the playoffs.
No. I still don't think they'll... Even if they win those games, I still don't think they'll make anywhere in the playoffs with the way they're playing.
I tend to agree. But playoff teams like that can be weird because they can hit the playoffs and hit
it's possible.
A whole different gear.
It's true. I talked about that. Yeah, I talked about how, like, we've seen Patriots have horrible regular seasons and then all of a sudden have, playoff runs with Tom Brady. And I was pointing out that even last time when I was talking to my dad, last time when we were watching the game, and he mentioned it, I just went, hey, you never know. There's a team that could squeak into those playoffs and then just have one of those playoff runs where all of a sudden it's the regular season doesn't matter anymore. No reason to think about it. We're in the postseason. We're 0-0.
Florida from last year, not Florida in the NFL, but Florida Panthers in the NHL.
Panthers, yeah.
Oh my God, they weren't supposed to be that good. They were a bottom feeder team, and they beat the best team in hockey at the time with Boston, and then they beat Toronto, and they went all the way to the Stanley Cup final. They got smacked by Vegas in the final, but they made it there.
But they made it there far better than anyone expected.
Yeah, they did far better than anybody thought they would. Last game I'm going to talk about, other than chiming in on the next game you've got. Giants at Eagles. We both smartly picked the Eagles. We were both correct as the Giants get mollywomped.
It was actually a little closer than...
It's closer. The score would indicate it was closer. If you actually watch the game, it wasn't nearly as close as it looked. 33-25, the Eagles win. The big ones were the fact that the Giants' defense helped out. Adoree Jackson had a ridiculous 76-yard interception return. And Slayton caught a bomb from Tyrod Taylor. Those were they had big plays. And that's the thing about the Giants. They can get big plays. You can beat them if you can limit them from getting those big plays, which for the most part, the Eagles did. They started Tyrod Taylor in this game. He went 7 of 16 for 133 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. Barkley, though, 23 carries, 80 yards, and a touchdown. That's not horrible. Slayton, 3 receptions, 90 yards. DeVito did play in this game, 9 of 16 for 55 yards. I think it's fair to say the DeVito time is over. It was fun while it lasted.
You never know, but probably.
Darren Waller, 2 receptions, 32 yards.
Yeah.
They did have a fumble. Gunner, someone or another, but he recovered his own fumble. Isaiah Simmons also would recover a fumble, and Adoree Jackson with that pick all the way down 76 yards for the return. On the Eagles side, Jalen Hurts, 24 of 38, 301 yards, a touchdown, and that horrendous pick. He also ran 8 times for 34 yards and a touchdown. So, scrambling around out there. DeAndre Swift finally came back to life. 20 carries, 92 yards, and a touchdown.
Took him a while, but at least he's not completely gone.
Nope, at least he's not completely gone. A.J. Brown, 6 catches, 80 yards. Devonta Smith, 4 for 79 and a touchdown. Dallas Goedert, 7 receptions for 71 yards. I'll take it. Hurts did fumble, but recovered his own fumble. Boston Scott fumbled and lost it. Britton Covey fumbled and recovered his own fumble. And Kenneth Gainwell fumbled and did not recover. Somebody else recovered his fumble. I don't know who. But it doesn't say he lost it either, so. They did get a pick by Keely Ringo. So, not bad overall. They also did get 1 sack. I'm going to be honest. This isn't what I expect from the Eagles. I expect them to play a little better, but they're still winning. Or they won again. They're in the race. I don't know how it's going to end. Because...
Yeah, they're definitely showing weakness.
Because...
they're one of the reasons. I guess we'll talk about it. Lions versus Vikings. Lions beat the Vikings 30-24. And, man, the score makes it look a lot better than it actually was. I guess we can talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's go through stats first. So, Jared Goff, 30 of 40, 257 yards and 1 touchdown. Jahmyr Gibbs had 15 running attempts for 80 yards, 2 touchdowns, did fumble, and had 4 receptions for 20 yards. Okay, Jahmyr Gibbs did a really good job. Let's look at, David Montgomery, 17 rushing attempts for 55 yards and another touchdown. 2 receptions for 14 yards. Yeah, they just ran it down our fucking face. Then, of course, we have Amon-Ra St. Brown with 12 receptions for 106 yards and an additional touchdown. Jameson Williams had 5 receptions for 43 yards and 1 fumble, unfortunately. And let's talk about Kirby Joseph with 2 interceptions and Ifwatu Melifonwo? I can't say your name, I'm sorry, sir. And Byron Branch each had an interception. All right, now let's look at the Vikings stats, shall we? Nick Mullins, 22 for 36 for 411 yards, 2 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and 2 fumbles. Yay! Should have been 5 interceptions.
Should have been. Good God. How he didn't.
Literally, the defensive back had it in his hands and dropped out of his hands. That should have easily been 5 interceptions and 2 fumbles. Yeah, that's not even telling the full story. Ty Chandler, 8 attempts for 17 yards and 1 touchdown. Justin Jefferson, one of the few people who decided he wanted to play football for the Vikings today, 6 receptions for 141 yards and 1 touchdown. Had an absolute ridiculous catch that he really had no right to have.
Oh, God, that touchdown.
Frankly, had no right to have that,
no
but
right
he
at all.
willed it anyways. KJ Osborne, 5 receptions for 95 yards and another touchdown. Another person who showed up he wanted to play. TJ Hawkinson, 4 receptions, 58 yards. Sadly gets injured, doesn't play any more than that. Could have actually changed part of how the game went. Who knows? Brandon Powell even had 3 receptions for 53 yards. And the 2 fumbles that happened on Jahmyr Gibbs and Jameson Williams both came off of Cameron Bynum. He got both of them.
Talk about a dude that's actually really come into his own.
Oh yeah, he's all over the field too. He's doing really well. Unfortunately, even though Nick Mullins had 411 yards, when you throw 4 fucking picks and get intercepted and get 2 fumbles, I mean, this is a game the Vikings could have won easily.
Yes.
Unfortunately, you turn over the ball 6 times. What the fuck are you supposed to do?
I will also point out that one of the other pieces that could have helped change the outcome of that game left incredibly early with Jordan Addison. Injured his ankle.
Addison, yep.
However, it does sound like he didn't sustain serious injury
No.
and he should be able to play next game.
Yeah, it sounds like it was basically a sprain. They thought it was
Yeah.
worse. Turns out it wasn't. So,
Yeah.
unfortunately, he wasn't available. But, KJ stepped up. TJ did well. Even Brandon Powell, who we haven't heard from for a while, did pretty good. The problem is, again, you throw have 6 turnovers, 4 interceptions, and 2 fumbles.
That's
I mean,
been
how you
something
supposed
that's plagued the Vikings pretty much all year, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. In fact, if I remember right, I'm going to double check this, but I'm pretty sure they have the second most turnovers.
TOV.
It tells me how many turnovers, but yeah, exactly. It just didn't tell me how many. It didn't tell me comparatively to other teams how many. Which
Yeah, I was able to find a full chart.
yeah, I couldn't find the full chart.
I got it.
But yeah, I believe we have a total of freaking 16 turnovers.
30.
Do we have 30 turnovers?
30
Jesus.
TOVs. You know
Yeah.
the only team that beats us? Cleveland.
Oof.
32.
Oof.
And we're tied with the fucking Jets.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me whatsoever. Yeah. All right. I'll stop. I'll stop looking for it since you
Yeah.
already found it, anyways. But yeah, I saw the stat earlier, and I was just like, I remember that we were tied for second last week. I guess we're still tied for second.
Yep.
Problem is, that's ridiculous. That's just absolutely ridiculous that we have that many fucking turnovers.
It's entirely possible that this is also a little bit older and they haven't incorporated this week's data yet.
Yeah, either way, it's not great. We're either tied for first or are first at this point, which is not great. And the fact that you look at our games and you realize that this is a team that could have easily been in the double digits, and it tells the tale of, yeah, you have that many turnovers, you're not going to win football games. Like it's just fact. It doesn't matter how good your offense is. It doesn't matter how explosive your team can be. Because obviously Nick Mullins for throwing for 411 yards in almost any other situation, you're like, geez, that's a really good stat line. But then when you look next to it for 4 fucking interceptions, I mean, that's 1 interception per 100 yards you got.
And what's horrible about it is you look at some of the interceptions and you just go,
that was a bad throw. Why did you throw that? Yeah. There were so many throwings that I saw from him, and I just went, are you trying to play hero ball? They told you to stop fucking doing that.
Well, and part of the other problem is we don't have a running game right now. We're not able to block for the running game. I don't know what's going on.
No, because I was going to say, Ty Chandler, I think, is good enough, but the problem is there's not good enough blocking for it. Like,
no, there isn't. Definitely need to replace Ed Ingram.
Yeah, agreed with that. Overall, it's one of those things that I look at this team and I'm just get frustrated because it's a team that's so potentially good, and it just can't quite get there after losing Kirk Cousins. Because I promise you, if we have Kirk Cousins, we're in double digits already.
Probably, yes.
So,
because I don't think he throws some of these interceptions, obviously.
Absolutely not. And in fact, most of the time he was much more careful with the ball.
Yeah.
Even despite the fact that he can whip it down the field, which is surprising actually for Kirk Cousins. And now that I think about it, it's one of those things where, like, if we have Kirk Cousins here, we're contending for conference. Lions might not win that game, and we're contending for actually being first place in our division.
We might already be first place in the division.
Might already been, yeah.
Some of the other games that we've lost, we probably don't lose.
Exactly. So, yeah, it's frustrating as a Vikings fan. It's almost one of those things where I wish we weren't even in some of these games, and it'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess losing Kirk Cousins would just suck. That's fine. But instead, the fact that we're contending with these games and then just get let down by bad interceptions or fumbles, it's just so frustrating to watch.
Welcome to Minnesota sports.
Pretty much. It's super frustrating. It's a little sad. And, yeah, I mean, the Lions didn't even play that well, to be completely honest with you. I mean, yeah, their running game was good, but Goff, I mean, 30 for 40 is great. 257 yards is pretty decent, but 1 touchdown. Like they didn't ask him to do a whole shit ton because he didn't have to. Like their running game did well enough, and Nick Mullins kept giving them back the ball. Like, what are you supposed to do with that? I mean, it's one of those situations I look at it and I just go, fucking put in Jaron Hall. What's the worst that's gonna fucking happen? Just put him in. He
I
can't.
mean,
He can't be worse.
I said somewhere that the best thing that happens is you find out that he's a gamer, that he actually is pretty good, and maybe you don't need
Yeah.
to draft a quarterback, and you win your final 2 games.
Exactly.
The worst that happens is you lose your final 2 games and improve your draft stock, and you find out
Yeah,
that he's
exactly.
not what you think he is.
And then you can draft another QB.
Then you
for
can
the
draft another
Exactly.
QB. It's not like there aren't going to be a shitload of them available in this draft.
Exactly. I think it's time. And you know, at first, remember I sent you that text yesterday because it sounded like, based on the press conference that KOC gave, that they were going to look at Nick Mullins' interceptions and try to figure out what went wrong and teach him for next week. And it made it sound like that, yeah, he's the guy starting next week. Now, Mike Florio came out with a report that actually the insiders are looking closely at Hall and Mullins this entire week, decide on during practice which one, quote unquote, gives them the best chance to win. Now, that doesn't mean that they will go with Hall. That still means Mullins is likely tapped to be more likely the starter, but this means that Hall is at least in the conversation of potential starter if he looks better in practice. So I guess we'll see.
Yeah, we'll have to see about that. I don't know, man. It's gonna be a weird week.
It's just for me that, like, here's my problem with if they don't put in Hall at this point, which is you bench Dobbs after he had 2 games with 7 interceptions, if I remember right. Right?
Something
Well,
like that.
Nick Mullins now has 2 games with 7 interceptions again. Well, if you don't bench fucking Mullins for Hall now, you set the precedent that maybe Dobbs shouldn't have gotten benched then. Like, if the reason you benched him was due to the interceptions, Mullins also deserves the same amount of fucking flack then.
I fully agree. I fully agree, and I don't know what we're gonna do right now. So
Yeah.
you said everything that I would say, and I don't know what else to say at this point. Like,
I'm disappointed.
yes, like I don't have words left. Like, I'm
No.
disappointed in this team.
Yeah, that's about the best way to put it. I'm happy the defense is working out. I'm even happy that the offense that does look good looks good. Like the receivers look good. The running backs need some help. The O-line needs some help. The quarterback room really fucking needs help. Because if next year, God forbid, that, because I know what's going to happen. We all know at this point that Kirk Cousins is going to get another 2-year extension because, frankly, it's very clear he deserves it at this point. Now, how much money, that's obviously up for debate. We've always said that he's overpaid. I still think he's going to get overpaid, but that's the payment that you have to get a top 10
somebody was
QB.
saying the number I heard tossed out was 2 for 60.
Again, and that's a little higher than I would like.
That I would go 2 for 40, maybe
I wouldn't
45.
even be mad. I wouldn't even be mad for 2 for 50. To be honest with you.
Yeah, that's still a little.
But that's
high,
still
but...
that's a little on the higher end, but it's the easier pill to swallow than 2 for 60.
And
My point-
I'd prefer more of a 1-year deal than a 2-year deal.
I would too, but I expect it's more likely going to be a 2-year deal. That's just how quite often you don't see 1-year deals for QBs unless it's questionable on if they're going to come back next year. I think that they're going to want Kirk Cousins for 2 years, just in case the guy they draft, if they draft somebody, isn't the guy they want. You know.
That's true. That's true.
So I expect a 2-year deal for Cousins. He does deserve a 2-year deal, not for the money he's going to get, but unfortunately that's probably what's going to happen. And I think it's fine because he definitely can lead this team to playoffs. There's no questions on that. And this team is definitely good enough to be in the playoffs discussion. They're a good enough team to be in the Super Bowl discussion. The problem is when Kirk Cousins go down, we need a better backup room than what we have.
And what I'm going to say is, I'm kind of okay with him coming back, but at the same time, I would prefer for him not to, because I would like to use the money we would save there and give it to JJ.
Oh, they're gonna do both. The thing is,
They're gonna have to break the bank for JJ.
oh yeah, they're gonna pay JJ, but they'll also bring back Kirk. And you know what's gonna happen is that they already made some room by not having Cook this year. But I've been hearing big rumors that the obvious one that's gonna end up getting moved on, and they won't be able to bring back, is gonna be Hunter. They can't afford to bring him back again.
Yeah,
They
they're not
just
going to
won't
be able to afford to bring back Daniel Hunter.
So he's gonna get moved on.
And also,
so that,
Harrison.
And then obviously Harrison Smith, yeah.
Although he may just retire.
He might just decide to retire Viking, yeah. We'll
Yeah.
see. Either way, that's going to be the room that'll then allow them to sign JJ as well as Cousins, because a lot of the other good players right now are either on rookie deals or are on smaller deals. So the problem is this team is close to being a Super Bowl caliber team. The problem is eventually, pretty quick here, you're not going to be able to afford to pay all of them anymore. And that's when you have to decide on if you keep Kirk Cousins around long term or not again, which I don't think the answer is you do. You don't, because he's too old now at this point.
Yeah.
You don't want to have him on another long term. You need to find the QB of the future, because JJ is going to have all the money. You want a good QB on a rookie contract who can still continue that Super Bowl potential.
So what I would
team.
try to do right now, draft your QB this year. Let him sit behind Cousins for at least 2 years.
Yep.
For only 2 years. Then let Cousins retire or walk or do whatever. And that guy's your next guy. And in fact, Cousins may still take you to playoffs, potentially even a Super Bowl. I doubt it, but maybe.
Yep.
And then while you're doing that, draft up your defense as well, because you're going to lose some pieces there. I think Cam Bynum is a keeper. You obviously are going to need another cornerback. I think Blackman is doing better than I thought he would.
Blackman, I think, is doing completely fine, actually.
Yeah, but you could still use, I see him as more of a dime or nickelback rather than I see him as a starting corner.
Maybe.
I would prefer to get another good starting corner, but if we could get one of those, I don't know. I would also like to get an edge to replace Hunter, because I don't think we have one in-house right now.
I mean, we got some pretty good pieces there, but I don't think we have another guy that can really take Hunter's spot and be just as good in that spot at the moment.
Yeah. So, but that's neither here nor there. We'll have to see how they play this.
Like I said, they have great pieces, and they don't actually have to move off too many of them at the moment, but the problem is it's going to come down to that QB. If you can't find that QB to replace Cousins in a year or two, everything's going to implode pretty quick.
Yeah. All right. Game balls?
Yeah, sure. Let me scroll all the way back up to that.
Game balls!
All right, you or me first.
You can go first.
Amari Cooper, game ball.
Obviously. I didn't even put him on my list because I knew you had him on yours. Brees Hall, game ball.
No, that's fair. I had him on mine too. Justin Jefferson, game ball.
Baker Mayfield, game ball.
And you know what? Just because I'm feeling a little spicy and this guy, he deserves some credit. Joe Flacco, you get a game ball, actually. It's been a while.
Puka Nakua,
that
game
was the other
ball.
one on my list, yeah. Yep.
I also had Bijan, Lamar, and Pickens.
Yep, I had Lamar and Pickens as well.
Game balls.
Yep.
All right. Showers time. Shower time.
Me or you first?
I'll start this time. Brock Purdy hit the showers.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
That was a bad game, my dude. Shake it off.
That was pretty bad. Nick Mullins, you need not just a shower, but a really, really fucking hot one, which I'm sure you'll get later.
You will. Chiefs running backs. Go hit the showers. That was shit.
What running backs?
Exactly.
Drake London, you went a little invisible in that Atlanta game. I would like to see more out of you for trying to be a star wide receiver. Go cool off for a little bit.
Trevor Lawrence. Hit the showers in the bench for a week.
Jake Browning. Welcome, sir. You've proven you can't do the whole starting season. Have a time sitting down and relaxing.
I also had DeAndre Hopkins on my list.
Sure, another person that kind of went invisible.
He went very invisible. Inferno. Let's toast some people.
Me or you first?
You can start.
Trevor Lawrence, welcome to the first circle. I understand you're dealing with injuries, but man, these last couple of weeks have been real rough for somebody who is touted as being the next generational QB. You are kind of letting down on that front, my guy.
Nick Mullins. Welcome to the fifth circle.
Man, you are not nice.
No, you've had 2 games where you've had 7 picks between those 2 games. You've also had multiple fumbles. You are a blight upon my team. I hate looking at you on TV. Get off my TV screen. In fact, get off my team. Buy a plane ticket, go back to California. Or wherever you came from. I don't know where we got you from, but get out of here.
We got him from the Rams.
Okay, go back to the Rams.
That's the reason why we got him, is because KOC knew him from the Rams. That's why.
Go back to the Rams. It's where you belong. Go back to the Rams. You are a blight upon my team and my television screen. I don't want to look at you anymore. Give the ball to Hall.
Fair enough. All right. Now entering for the first time in my Inferno, second circle, Travis Kelce. My guy, I didn't want to put you here, but you cannot be getting that heated in a football game, let alone one where you're slamming your helmet down and then having a confrontation with your head coach. That is absolutely unacceptable. I don't care if your head coach came out in defense of you afterwards and said that everything got cleared up. That type of attitude, especially live on TV, is not okay. It absolutely is not okay, my guy. That's the only reason you're in my second circle, because at least you performed okay still. You still came back in the game and played okay. But that type of attitude is going to get you in a lot of trouble if you keep it up.
Joe Barry. Welcome to the sixth circle. You are supposedly a defensive coordinator, and yet every time I watch your defense, I wonder where it is. You are going to get fired because you just about got beat by the clawless Panthers. And if they don't fire you, I'm going to question the sanity of Packers management.
To be fair, their management's a little crazy anyways. Alrighty then. Guess we'll go on to my next one. Arthur Smith. Welcome to the fifth circle. Dude, I get you won, but like, all you've done is made me question what your decision making. Like, Ritter 1 week, Heineke the next week, sometimes using Bijan correctly, sometimes not giving him the ball. I don't fucking understand you. I don't think anyone understands what the fuck you're doing. And this is probably why you're gonna get fired.
Finally.
Do you have like a magic 8-ball where you just shake it and decide what you're gonna do with a magic 8-ball? Like, sorry, go ahead. Yeah, exactly. Just
not Bijan. Okay.
No Bijan this week.
No
okay.
Bijan. Like, screen to Jonnu Smith. Got it.
Put in Tyler Heineke this week. All right.
All right. Like, I feel like he's reading Coaching for Dummies on the sidelines or something.
Yeah, that's what it feels like, man. I don't know what's going on.
Titans management team. I don't know who to blame, so all of you get to go in on this one. You're down in the seventh circle. Why are you in the seventh circle? Okay, look, I understand the current GM is new, so you had nothing to do with the horrible A.J. Brown trade. That's not on you. But How in the fuck did you not find a fucking deal for Derrick Henry?
That was pretty bad. He'll be a
Okay?
free agent. You're gonna get shit out of him now.
You're not going to get shit out of him. He's going to walk in free agency, and if you re-sign him, you're an idiot. Because you're going to have to break the bank for him, and he's almost 30 years old, and the beating he's taken, he's not going to be worth it. You should have traded him in the offseason, but you didn't. You should have traded him this season at the deadline, but you didn't.
But you didn't.
And now you've got only 5 wins, and he's going to walk in the offseason for nothing. You're going to get nothing for him. I understand there are some teams who are in a position at the deadline to hold on to assets. The Vikings were one of those teams. Otherwise, they probably, if they were not in a position to be winning, and they were still losing, and look like ass, they probably trade Danielle Hunter at the break. They might even trade Harrison Smith at the break at that point, or at the deadline. Especially if they were absolute garbage and had only won like 2 games. Yeah, you probably trade those pieces away. But the Vikings had gone on a win streak by then, and they thought, hey, we could still do this. We could turn this all around. And they did for a little while. Now they're trash again, but that's neither here nor there. The Titans, you were trash at that point in the season. You had been trash by that point in the season. And why you didn't even attempt to get... I mean, I don't care if you got only a 4th-round pick for him. That would be a total fleecing, but at least you would have gotten something. Right now, you're going to let him walk for nothing. Because if you re-sign him, you aren't going to get the value of anything out of him. Also, you've already got a good running back to replace him in-house with Tyjae Spears. I think that he's a pretty good running back. I think he can serviceably do exactly what you want him to do, and you should have attempted to get... Hi, Loki. You should have attempted to get a 1st-round pick or 2nd-round pick or something for him. But instead, you're going to get nothing. I don't know who to blame, so all of you go into the 7th circle.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. Did I get angry enough?
I don't know, kind of.
All right, power rankings or hot potatoes first?
Potato, then ranking.
Potatoes rankings next week?
Yeah.
Then hockey, and then close it out?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll start with hot potatoes. I'll start with the mildest one I have. Maybe Frank Reich was part of the problem in Carolina?
I mean, he is probably part of the problem. I mean, to be fair, in general, it's never just one person. But at the same time, I don't know how much was really his fault or not. It's hard to say. So, I would say he definitely had probably his own issues that probably was partly on him in some way or form. How much, again, I don't know. Alright, I guess I'll go with my easy one. Maybe the Vikings actually do miss the playoffs.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and eat on that. I'll nom that. I think it's pretty cut and dry at this point that we probably will. In fact, I almost feel like we're going to lose out. So,
It's very possible, yeah.
In fact, that leads into my next one. You ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
Maybe the Vikings should continue to start Mullins so that we can lose out and improve our standing in the draft.
That's a bit aggressive. I want to at least see what Hall is before we have a better draft pick. Mostly just to know if he's going to have anything in him, depending on what we draft. Outside of that, yeah, sure, why not? Alright, I'll go with another mostly softball one. Maybe the Ravens have finally cemented themselves as the top team in the NFL.
I'm going to agree with that one. I'm going to eat it. I am going to eat it plain because it's going to lead into my next one, which is going to make you laugh. But no, absolutely. The Ravens right now, because Lamar has gotten his throwing legs under him, he can still take off and run and absolutely run the dog snot out of you. But no, he's throwing, he's spreading the ball around. If his receivers could hang on more frequently, I think he'd be better off. But the point is that he's still throwing really well. I think he's finally figured out how to be a passer. And when you watch him scramble out of the pocket, one of the things I've noticed about him is he keeps his head up and looking downfield. He's looking to throw before he's looking for a running lane.
Right.
Which is allowing him to do a lot more with the ball. And their defense is mean and nasty.
Oh, yeah.
It reminds me of the old Ravens defenses from way back in the day.
The early 2000s, yeah.
Yeah. Those defenses were just nuts.
Oh, yeah.
So to lead into my third one, maybe the Browns are going to beat the Ravens in the AFC Championship game behind comeback player of the year, Joe Flacco.
Yeah, no, that's not happening. Like, it would be a fun story, but it ain't fucking happening. Like,
it is a fun story. That's why I put it in there.
Like, the problem is, as much as that Browns defense is good enough to try to hold down the Ravens a bit, don't forget the Ravens defense is going to eat the shit out of any Flacco bad gunslinging that he has. So
it's still funny, though, if he does it, because he would take So what's funny about it is the Ravens used to be the Browns. Yeah. And the last time that the Ravens won a Super Bowl, who was their quarterback?
Joe Flacco!
So now he can take the team that left, the Browns, beat the Ravens, and take them to a Super Bowl. The symmetry is hilarious to me.
It'd be funny,
would be a good story.
It'd be a good story, but I don't think it'll happen.
That was the spicy one.
Now for mine. Maybe the Rams will make a deep playoff run.
I don't think that's impossible to say at all. I'll load that potato up. If there's one team that I don't think anybody in the NFC wants to come across, it's the fucking Rams.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. They got great running. They got great passing. Their defense is not anything amazing, but they're good enough.
Yeah, they really are. Yeah, I think they're going to be a team to watch out for.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Power rankings.
Me or you first?
You can start.
All right, at number 10, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars. You are barely still hanging on to my top 10 by a fucking thread, boys. I got nothing nice to say about what the fuck I watched.
They're not in mine.
They're just, like I said, they're hanging on by a fucking thread.
At number 10, I have a team that I haven't put on there yet this year, and I'm now coming around on them. It's the Los Angeles Rams. I'm finally coming around. They went on my list finally. Good job, boys. If you keep winning like this and keep doing stuff, you might actually climb into the top part of the list by the end of the season.
Very possible. Number 9, I have the Bills. You move up one whole spot. Only because there's a bunch of other teams that I think did better than you. That's the only reason.
At number 9, I have the Bengals. You aren't out of it yet, but if you lose...
Oh, they're dropped off my list.
Yeah, if you lose another game like that, you're going off my list. The only reason you did is because there were other teams that I feel did worse that dropped off my list, and nobody else that I feel is good enough to replace you yet.
I just realized there's another team that I dropped off my list. The Chiefs aren't on here no more.
They're not on mine either. They're one of the teams that dropped.
I just realized that I dropped them off my list.
Good. I did too.
They played shitty anyways.
Yeah, no, I dropped them too.
At number 8, I have the Rams. Move up another single spot. I think they should have moved up a little bit more, but I just couldn't really justify it with the other teams just being slightly better. But based on how the next couple weeks here go, they could easily shoot up into my top 5 pretty quick.
At number 8, I have the Cowboys. You've lost 2 in a row, but they're to 2 teams that are pretty good. I don't know about you guys. This was supposed to be your year. You looked good. You beat the Eagles. You were going to be awesome, and then you've slid down.
That's fair. At number 7, I have the Browns. They looked okay. And that's about all I can say about that. Like, I could have had them above this next team, but it was kind of a 50-50 here. So they unfortunately got the short end of my stick because their offense concerns me at times. Like, great, Cooper did amazing. We definitely can't expect that to be common.
At number 7, I have the Bills. You guys won again. You seem to be finally rounding into playoff form? Question mark?
I know. I think they need more Cook, but yeah. At number 6, I have the Philadelphia Eagles. You guys are continuing to drop, and frankly, the only reason you didn't drop further is because you did manage to beat the Giants, but man, didn't look great.
At number 6, I also have the Eagles for all the aforementioned reasons. I'm very concerned with this team. I feel like if they were to run into the Rams in the playoffs, they would lose.
Oh yeah. At number 5, I have the Cowboys, who I'm a little bit higher on than you, and simply due to the fact that they beat the Eagles, and that's really the only reason that's keeping you in the top 5. Honestly, you probably shouldn't be here, but I couldn't justify bringing anyone else above here. Maybe the Browns were the only teams I was thinking about, like possibly moving around these three guys, but I just decided not to. So yeah.
Number 5, I have the Lions. You won the NFC North. Wasn't pretty.
No. At number 4, I have the Lions, who I'm just slightly higher on. You won the North. You did it okay. It wasn't the best game you've had. You're bouncing back, hopefully continuing to bounce back. We'll see how that goes.
You got to play the Cowboys this week, so a lot of questions will get answered.
Yep.
At number 4, I have the Browns. I'm much higher on them than you are. Yeah, their offense is concerning at times, but Flacco's a gunslinger. It's going to look like that, and I think he's good enough and gunslingy enough to get them deep into the playoffs, and their defense is definitely good enough to overcome any of his deficiencies.
Guess we'll see. Number 3, I have the 49ers. Unfortunately, you guys got shellacked, and that's why you dropped 2 whole spaces.
At number 3, I also have the Niners for the exact same reason. If you guys would have kept it close, you only drop 1.
Mm-hmm.
But you got thumped.
Oh,
so
yeah.
down 2 you go.
I imagine our top 2 are probably the same then. So at
More
number
than likely.
2, I have the Miami Dolphins.
Yep.
Because frankly, they're getting hot at the right time, and as long as they can stay healthy, they'll be great. Especially with MVP caliber Tyreek Hill.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. And of course, then I have number 2 is also the Dolphins. 100%. Mm-hmm. I'm the same. So we both have the Ravens at number 1. Probably
Exactly.
the most complete team in football right now.
Oh, yeah. No question.
No question. So, I mean...
running, throwing, defense, I mean, kicking, for God's sakes, they got fucking Tucker as a kicker. Like, literally, they have pretty much some of the best everything right now. It's kind of hard to be like they're not the team that's going to make it to the Super Bowl and probably have a real chance at winning it.
Absolutely. 100%. All right. Ready for week 17?
I am going to hurt, but yes.
We'll start on Thursday. Jets at Browns.
The Jets looked better, but there's no way that Trevor Simeon's going to have that kind of game against the Browns. So, Browns.
I agree. 100%. Lions at Cowboys.
I'm hedging slightly Lions, only because I think that they are a little better than the Cowboys, and the Cowboys tend to lose to teams that they are close to being equals with.
I will go with the Cowboys because I think they're mad.
Yeah, but I don't know. We'll see.
Here's going to be another great game. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Dolphins at Ravens.
Oof.
Ooh.
I'm going to be contentious. I'm going Dolphins.
I will go Ravens.
I'm only doing that because I think that as good as the Ravens defense is, no one can cover fucking Tyreek Hill. Prove me wrong, Ravens.
Patriots at Bills.
You know, the Patriots could actually win this because Bill Belichick has shown that he can still do defenses pretty decently, but it's probably going to be Bills.
I agree. Falcons at Bears.
You know, I have no faith in Arthur Smith because I don't know what his magic 8 ball is going to tell him this week, so I'm going to go with the Bears.
I agree with you. Now, it could tell him to run Bijan again, in which case the Bears might be effed.
Yeah, exactly. Who knows?
What the voices in his head are going to come up with, who knows?
Whichever one's
Raiders.
taking his body.
This is going to be. This is a better game than I think it's supposed to be. Raiders at Colts.
Raiders defense is stepping up good, but I just think the Colts have a little bit more to work with. So I'm going to give it to the Colts because I think they have more win conditions or easier win conditions in comparison to the Raiders.
I will take the Raiders in this case. There's just something about them. They're getting a little spicy.
Also, I'm going to say this. If this interim head coach does not become their permanent head coach,
Antonio
I'm going to
Pierce
be
needs
livid.
to be their head coach. Yeah,
I'm going to be livid if he doesn't fucking keep this guy as their head coach. He's done amazing work with this guy.
Fantastic work. Panthers at Jags.
Ouch. With no Trevor Lawrence, we got Blaine Gabbert.
No,
Blaine,
you have
isn't it Blaine Gabbert?
C.J. Beathard.
Oh, C.J. Beathard. That's right. God damn it! I forgot it's not Gabbert. Who's the fuck? Where did Gabbert go?
I think he went to the Chiefs for a bit.
Oh, did he?
And then I think he retired.
C.J. Beathard. Jesus Christ, that's even worse. Oh God. I'm gonna do the one thing I shouldn't do, and I'm gonna pick the Panthers, and I really don't like it.
I'm gonna pick the Panthers as well because they played incredibly well last week. It was a Joe Barry defense, but the Jags haven't looked very good recently.
Yeah,
the Panthers are looking a little sharper.
It's just hard to do that though, with how bad the Panthers are.
Titans at Texans.
Hopefully, C.J. Stroud's gonna be back. Because without it, Case Keenum's not even. I don't know if he's gonna play, and even if he did, he frankly didn't look good. So that's concerning. And then you're just left with Long Neck Mills, and then who knows what's gonna happen there. You know, and then of course for the Titans, you gotta be like, is Levis playing? Hopefully he's playing. Who knows?
And who knows what Derrick Henry's gonna look like?
Yeah, this is a big toss-up game, but I'm going to lean to my Texans here.
I agree with you. Rams at Giants. Do we even need to say anything?
Fucking Rams, let's go!
Ram it. Cards at Eagles.
Listen, as much as I want to pick the Cards, it's not going to be the Cards.
It shouldn't be. If it is, the Eagles have a real serious issue.
Oh, yeah. If the Cards win this, either the Cards are playing out of their mind or the Eagles are really showing their issues.
Saints at Bucks.
Just going to actually be a close game. Because the Saints aren't a bad team. But I think the Bucks are just a little bit more explosive, especially with Mike Evans.
I 100% agree, and Baker Mayfield is looking really good right now.
Yeah.
Niners at Commanders.
I mean, listen, the Niners may have had a tough time against the Ravens, but there's no way that's going to happen with the Commanders.
Yeah, they're gonna kill the Commanders this week.
Oh, yeah. Payback time.
Steelers at Seahawks.
This is a game that could be decently close. But I just don't think Mason Rudolph's the guy. Sure, he can come in for relief once in a while. But I think the Seahawks will just slightly take him over.
I agree to it. It'll be like a last-second thing. It's the way the Seahawks have played this year.
Yeah. Yep.
Bengals at Chiefs.
Oof. Man, the Bengals had a bad last game with Drake Browning, but the Chiefs had a really bad game against the Raiders. Now it's questioning of which one is worse to look at. You know what? Just for the funsies of it, I'm picking the Bengals.
I'll take the Chiefs. I think they're due for a comeback.
You're not wrong, but it'd be really funny if they lose again.
Oh, I would laugh. Chargers at Broncos.
Ugh. Oh man, there's a lot of stinkers here, aren't there?
Yeah.
You know, the Chargers have a real opportunity there, but the Broncos might be looking for payback. So I'm going to go with Broncos.
I agree. And the Monday night game. Packers at Vikings.
I don't want to do this one. Because you're going to make me say the thing I don't want to say live or ever. This makes me feel gross and disgusting. I can't do it. I'm picking the Vikings. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it.
I will do it. I will pick the Cheeseheads.
I can't do it.
I hate it. I hate myself
Everything
for
in my bone won't let me do that one.
I hate myself for it.
If it was any other team, I could do it. I can't do it against the Packers. I just can't.
I understand. I hate myself for it. And you could have a real shot because despite how Mullins looked, even if he starts, it's a Joe Barry defense. To say
you never know, exactly.
There is no defense.
Exactly. You never know.
You never know. Alrighty. I don't really have a hockey corner, but I can do a hockey power rankings.
Okay, go ahead.
At number 10, we have the Philadelphia Flyers. They are 18-11-4 with 40 points. In their last 10, they are 7-1-2. I keep waiting for them to fall off, and they keep not doing it.
Fair enough.
They're a very good team this year. Number 9, we have the LA Kings, 19-7-4, 42 points. Last 10, they are 6-3-1. They've fallen off a little bit, but I think they're still a very good team. They're really hot, and they're going to make a run into the finals this year. At number 8, we have the New York Islanders at 16-8-9 with 41 points. In their last 10, they are 6-1-3. Look, the Islanders are playing really good hockey, but if I'm right, they're the only team in my top 10 that have a negative goal differential.
Oof.
They will probably fall off eventually. At number 7, the Boston Bruins. 19-7-6, 44 points. Last 10, 4-3-3, including 2 losses to the Minnesota Wild.
Wow.
I am very proud about that, by the way.
I can tell.
They're still playing good hockey, but they are now having trouble playing a full 60 minutes worth of hockey. The Colorado Avalanche, 21-11-2, 44 points. In their last 10, they are 6-4-0. And the reason they're here is because they are starting to self-destruct a little bit. There's starting to be some infighting. And you're beginning to hear it on camera, which means it's a problem.
Right.
At number 5, the Vegas Golden Knights, 21-9-5, 47 points. Last 10, 6-4-0. They're still the Golden Knights. They're still going to be one of the top teams in the West. They're still going to go into the playoffs hardcore. Number 4, the Winnipeg Jets, 29-3, 43 points. Last 10, 8-1-1. Connor Hellebuck is standing on his head. Like, I don't know if he can lose a game right now. They are playing absolutely insane hockey. Number 3, the Dallas Stars, 28-4, 44 points. In their last 10, they are 6-3-1. The Stars are playing unbelievable hockey right now, and it hurts my soul to see because I hate them. Number 2, the New York Rangers, 23-8-1, 47 points. In their last 10, they are 6-4-0. Jonathan Quick has been the story of the year there. Absolutely looks like a dominant goalie again. Cannot be beaten. Looks really good. I don't know what's going to happen there, but it's a fun thing to watch. And number 1, the Vancouver Canucks. 23-9-3, 49 points. In their last 10, they are 7-1-2. I don't know what to say. This is an utter turnaround from last year. This team couldn't do shit right last year. And this year, they cannot be stopped. They're a fucking wagon. If they were to win the Stanley Cup this year, I would not bat an eyelash. They're a very, very good team.
Fair enough.
All right. Closing this out. You are still playing Sekiro?
I am.
Okay.
I'm on New Game Plus.
You're still playing on New Game Plus? Did you take a break for the holidays?
Yeah, I didn't play yesterday. I don't play on weekends. I didn't play yesterday because it was obviously, Christmas yesterday as of this recording. I didn't play today because it was a short day that I knew we were recording, and I wanted to get my other nice camera set up, which you saw a little bit of at least. And I've also been editing footage to put up on YouTube mostly for today, so I'll be starting back up Sekiro tomorrow.
Awesome. I may actually watch for a little bit, as I am going to be home tomorrow. I'm also going to edit this tomorrow. Which leads me to the next question. How are we doing on the BG3 editing?
Well, that's the one I have started just editing. I had to edit the small stream of Sekiro, which I had just finishing rendering one episode. I'm going to finish rendering the other episode soon, and then I'm going to finish the BG3 edit, which I had started, but not rendered any footage like I had planned on doing on Friday. So, I'm pretty backed up with the amount of footage I have in comparison. Like Sekiro, I have, hold on. Gonna get him off my microphone there. I have Sekiro. I have 4 streams of stuff I have to still edit. Nope, 6 streams, because 2 of which are actually the New Game Plus streams that I did, and I'll have another one tomorrow. So yeah, I'm really behind on editing and rendering, and that's just simply due to the fact that I can only edit and render so much, and I can't render things while I'm streaming because, my PC can't do that.
Just can't do it. Yeah.
Yeah, if I had a separate PC for streaming, then I could. But unfortunately, I don't have the money for that yet. That is something I hope to eventually have. Is that I just have a
that would be really
dedicated
nice,
PC for streaming
and a dedicated PC for editing.
Yeah, yep. I would like that, but unfortunately, that is not in the cards at the moment. I am not that rich.
Totally.
I'm hoping that if with the new camera setup I have, and hopefully I can afford a green screen soon. I plan on eventually adding that into my Twitch stream, but I first have to obviously figure out the battery problem.
Yeah.
That's going to be the first problem. And then, of course, I have to figure out, the whole turning itself off every 30 minutes. If there's, a firmware update I can do to fix that, because if that is going to be a problem, too, then I'm not going to be able to stream with it, because otherwise every 30 minutes I'm going to have to turn back on the camera, which, if you're in the middle of streaming, is really hard to, one, notice that, and 2, it's going to be really annoying if you're in the middle of a boss fight and the camera turns off. So
yeah, that would be really irritating.
Yeah, I got several things I need to work on first for that.
We did get further. We have done our second episode now of Baldur's Gate 3. We have been through some stuff in the Druid's Grove.
Yes, we did Druid's Grove stuff.
We did some Druid's Grove stuff.
In fact, we actually finished up the main storyline, I think, through there.
Part of it,
technically,
yes. We did.
We did.
We actually
did one of the
main storylines in that area. There are still some other things that you haven't found in that area that I'm not going to tell you about, but
if I find them, I find them.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you about them, but there are some things that you could explore a little more on that you haven't noticed yet. It took me a couple of playthroughs to notice one of them.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there's gonna be stuff I'm gonna miss. It's fine.
But overall, we're doing pretty well. And we will continue that stream coming up here on Friday.
Yep, we'll start up the next
So-
next story stream on Friday. Hopefully no one dies. I mean, we barely got through one fight, so I guess we'll see how that goes.
We got pretty close to some deaths on that one.
Oh, we got very, very close. Thankfully, we had enough people with enough heals to go around.
Yep.
But,
Yep.
Yeah.
And you know, we had several more axe puns.
I have a feeling those will never go away, sadly.
Nope.
Yeah. One can hope.
Unless I change my weapon from an axe to like a hammer, then I have to come up with hammer puns.
That's not better.
Stop. Hammer time.
Oh God. I mean, that's the easy one, though. To be fair.
That is the easy one. Hey, time to get hammered.
No.
All right. Well, we hope that everybody checks those streams out. They're gonna come in on the tops and bottoms during this segment. I'm gonna have little things like I did last time. I'll also put the links down in the doobly-doo. So we hope that everybody out there had a good time and enjoyed our stream. We hope that our video here, podcast. Well, come watch our streams too. Fuck it. We hope that whatever you want to do and whatever you want to accomplish and put your mind to, you get done. We hope that you all had a great Christmas. We'll see you after New Year's. Next time we see you, it will be a new year. Have a great time. And everybody out there, we hope that it's awesome. Peace out. Don't forget to stay bearded.